Are you happy with the performance of your team? What kind of a leader are you? When you delegate responsibility, do you also remember to delegate authority? My name is Angela Kamanzi, and I'm the publisher of Mkazi Magazine and the founder of Top Achievers Network. Top Achievers is a community of African ladypreneurs and men who believe in female entrepreneurship in Africa. We build profitable and sustainable businesses, and we want to help you to do just that. Every month, I invite a coach or a mentor to address a particular area of your business and to help you find solutions through a masterclass. On this channel, we publish introductions to the masterclasses, and we provide you with a tool that you can use at least to see whether that particular masterclass will provide you with the solution that you want. Before we proceed, please subscribe and activate the bell so that you don't miss out on any of our videos. To attend the master classes, you need to join Top Achievers community. I have shared the link here below in the description. This month, I have invited Gabriel Achayo to take us through a masterclass on team performance. Gabriel Achayo is a certified leadership, life, and growth coach with lifeformingcoach.com. He's also a senior consultant with Giant Worldwide. Gabriel is the lead trainer and coach at Liberate Group Limited, a registered Kenyan company authorized to represent Giant in Africa. For over 12 years, Gabriel spent his life working with emerging leaders in areas of mentorship, coaching, training, capacity building, and networking. Gabriel has practical tools and platforms to help you unlock the potential of your people. He has a proven process to help every team in your organization become invincible. Here is Gabriel Achayo. My first question, the one I have at this time, what is the biggest mistakes that leaders make, leaders of teams?
I think the biggest mistake, and it's forgivable because that's the bottom line of what team leaders want, is always to focus much on execution. And that's the bottom line. That's what, at the end of the day, they evaluate and they want to see is, are we able to execute? And of course, in most cases, then you end up pushing people. You end up becoming sometimes inhuman to people, and because you want the product. But then you realize that then you do that, then what you get is you get a bunch of people who are just with you because they have no other place to go. Because you're the one paying their rent, because they're like, okay, I'm just here because I have nothing else to do. I have no other place to go. You don't really get people who are with you because they want to be with you. You get people who are with you because they have to be with you. And there's a difference there. Because when you are with people and they have to be with you, that can only go so far. And you've got cases where someone says, I have closed my computer. Even if you call me, I will not open it again because it is 5. It is 5, time to go home. Even if the office is on fire, I will not come back because I have gone. And so you get such people now.
Isn't it a reasonable thing to do? I mean, it's not good to take job at home.
True, it's not good to get job at home. But what we are getting here is you get a people who just complying and just ticking a box. And they are not going the extra mile. And so if you want, getting them, because to get them to go the extra mile, you have to light a fire inside them. Most cases will light a fire under their seats. And what happens is they move to the next seat. And then you light a fire again, and they move to the next seat. And so you get people who are looking for how to conveniently avoid you, because they know you show up, you have your demands, you have no idea what's going on, you have all this to-do list, because again, mostly as leaders or team leaders, we sometimes tend to arrive in the office before the others come.
Mm-hmm.
And so you kind of have an idea, today, this is what I want this guest to do, da, 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 da. So you've really highlighted it. And then you press your send and you send to everyone the instructions for the day. And so they're there wondering, okay, does he even know whether I've already arrived? Does he even know what is going on with my life? Does he even care that I'm a human being in the first place? And so you can only go with that, because you get people who are complying, who are just checking the box, who are just there because they have no other place to be. And so then you get people who, they start working around you to avoid you. And so if they can avoid interacting with you, that's fine. And so they'll just do whatever it is you require of them. They don't say, let me go an extra mile because I am engaged in this. I am a part of this. I feel proud to tag this on my name that I'm a part of this team. Because really they've not seen anything that invites them to feel that they're a part of you.
Mm-hmm.
They feel manipulated. They feel used for your own selfish ends. They feel like they're just there for you to get what you want, but they feel like for you, you just pay them. And so long as you pay them, that's fine. And so the day you delay paying them, they're on your neck, because you're supposed to be paying me for what I did for you. So that's the mistake, I would say. There's probably more, because again, also there's lack of clarity of roles, and also lack of clearly defining, how do you win? How do you win, and how does your team win? And does each person know how they win, and how actually their roles contribute to the bigger vision of the organization?
Mm-hmm.
So that then they're not just wondering, so I did this, Gabriel did it, Angela also did it. So why are we all doing almost doing the same thing? Why am I redoing what I did yesterday? I'm doing this document. My boss has asked me to do this document. I don't even know what's going on around me. But since, okay, hey, I'm employed here, I'm just doing it. And so you get guys who are just doing things and they don't know what they're doing. How is that contributing to the bigger goal or the vision or the mission of the organization? And how is it aligned to the specific goals? And do I know what it means, what is expected of me every day? Do I know what I need to do today to win? What do I need to do today to move closer to what is expected of me? So if that, and it is the leader then to define that. I think another mistake, if I come, and there are probably a number of them, is failure to really intentionally define the culture. Because leaders define culture, and sub-leaders define sub-cultures.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and we know culture trumps strategy. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. So you could have a very good strategy, but when you do not define a culture and then be able to know, so that everyone knows clearly what is the culture of organization. And also is to know as a team leader is, okay, I might not be the culture champion, but who are the culture champions in my team? Who are these guys who really influence things? You see, there are these guys who, when they're not in a meeting, everyone looks dull. And then when they show up, people cheer up. And people always waiting to hear what they have to say.
Uh-huh.
You are the team leader, yeah. They respect you. You're the team leader. But there's this character who people always wait to hear what they have to say.
So those are the ones who are the culture champions.
Those are the culture champions. So you need to identify those people and say, okay, so who is this influential person in my team? And then once you identify them, is work with them to build the culture. Let them know, I realize people listen to you a lot. And for that reason, I want us to work together, because I want this team to appreciate what we are trying to achieve. So I will bring you a little closer. I will let you into some few things because I want you to be able to help me champion that in the team. And then again, also you need to know what are the culture builders and what are the culture killers. And when you know, okay, so these are the culture builders, and it's not copy paste, but since it worked in the company you used to work, so it will work here, is to really find out or realize, okay, so in this context where I work, what are the culture builders? So culture builders may be timekeeping, honesty, maybe intentionality, maybe those ones. There could be more, and so then promote those culture builders. Promote them, talk about them. Let the culture champion understand what you have identified as a leader and how you want to communicate these culture builders.
Yes.
And then what are the culture killers? People interrupting one another, people engaging so much on gossip. There's so much gossip going on. There's so much undermining each other's efforts going on. So you've identified those are the culture killers, and you need to identify what they are, and then also engage your culture champion in those conversations. Could you help me really discourage the following things? And how can we discourage the following things? How can we discourage time wasting? Because we realize that's a culture killer. How can we discourage X, Y, Z? And so that's more, and probably I'd like to unless you want me to keep going.
No, I think you will get to that in details during the masterclass, especially about the culture. That is something even me, I struggle to understand when they talk about a camp. Okay, I know as an individual, I know my culture. I can know the culture of a community. But when it comes to business, it becomes confusing. So I'm looking forward to you expanding about what is the culture of a company, how is it, does a leader define it, and how can I, as a leader, define it and champion it, as you are saying. So when you look at the pandemic, you see it has brought a lot of upheaval, really, in business, in life, and in business in particular. So what is the biggest challenge that leaders are facing or have been facing, and that they could actually, if they solved it, it would put them on track for not only now but for the after pandemic?
I think what pandemic has brought is this concept, and I have a team that I work with, and of course right now I'm in the office and I'm alone in the office. Everyone is working. My hope is that they're working, and my hope is that things are going on. So then for me as a leader then is to ask myself, how do I make sure that, one, the deliverables that we agreed on with my teams are still being worked on? And of course, I am no longer in front of them. So my influence over them is no longer based on that, hey, Gabriel Atakuja, he'll come and find me doing something else. It's always knowing that, hoping that wherever they are still doing what they're supposed to be doing, what we agreed on. Of course, there are moments where you find, okay, someone did not do the thing you're supposed to do in the right time, and then you have to go over something over and over again. And sometimes you do the Zoom meetings, because Zoom has been great, but sometimes when we have people meeting and their videos are off and you're not sure if they're there with you, you're not sure if they are understanding, because sometimes, so you are there wondering, okay, how much of an influence then do I have over my staff or my team for that matter? And so this pandemic has brought those challenges of influence, really. And again, based on the challenges of the economic challenges, realize then if they were with you because you are paying them and you've gotten a hiccup and you can no longer pay them, can they still stay with you? And so then how do you then make them still realize, as much as our money is not coming, I'm not being paid in time, I've been asked to cut my salary by half, or my salary has been delayed by 10 days, 20 days, I can still stay faithful to this team. I'm still a part of this team. And for that reason, I will still continue to be faithful and deliver on time. And so and so for me during this season is then how then do I as a team leader still be able to build that influence? Mm-hmm. And realizing that then this pandemic, people are processing them differently. Mm-hmm. There are those who, so for example, there are people who believe in systems have to work. And so such a person, before the pandemic, they knew I'd wake up, go to the office, I'd be on my desk, sit on my desk, work on my desk, and deliver what is expected of me within a specific period of time. And they loved that.
Yes.
But then with the pandemic, they can no longer go to this location that they preferred going to. They probably don't even have a conducive environment at home to work from. And so they're all jumbled up. They're wondering, their world is messed up, scattered all over. They don't know how to cope up. But then there are also the other kind of people who come into the office was always like, oh my God, office again. And so with the pandemic of working from home, they're like, yeah, I can now work whenever I want. I can wake up at work at midnight, so long as you just tell me what I need to do. I can watch my movies up at 8 a.m. and then maybe start working from 3 p.m. to whatever time I stop. And that has just been nice for them. And they love that. But this guy is also, so then how do you balance all that? There are people who have lost loved ones during this season.
Yes.
And you're leading them as a team leader. So when you call them for meetings and they're telling you, I'm going for a funeral. Mm-hmm. And you're like, okay, but there was something you're supposed to be doing. So how do you even ask them, did you finish the report? Because really they've lost a loved one in COVID. Yes. And they're going for a funeral. And so you are now torn wondering, okay, so how do I still, as a team leader, how do I fight for their highest possible good right now and find out what is right in front of their face right now? Is this funeral that is right in front of their face? So asking them for a report at this point is probably the least thing you'd want to do right now.
Yes.
So how do you balance all that during this season, really? And those are the realities of this season. And so as a leader, then you have then to say, okay, so how then do I continue to have an influence over my team? And how do I build influence with each of them so that you're no longer treating them as a group, but you're now looking on how do I treat each of them specifically and uniquely. Who want you if you have a bigger team? Hopefully you have a team that you can commit yourself as a leader to find. So Gabriel, what is Gabriel going through right now? And how do I still remain relevant and influential over Gabriel? Gabriel prefers that before I ask them for his report, I find out how he's doing. And so when you're on this Zoom meeting, is how do I care for Gabriel? When I'm called Gabriel for this report, how do I show that I actually care what Gabriel is going through? There are those guys also who they don't really need that. They're fine. Yes. They might be going through the challenges. They probably will not even tell you that they're going for a funeral. You will call them, and the first thing they'll jump into is, I know there's a report I was supposed to send you. Please, I'm dealing with something. They'll not tell you what it is. Because for them, how they are wired is, that doesn't come into work. So it's work. So they'll talk to you about, so unless you press and say, okay, but what are you dealing with? No, I lost my mother. I lost my niece. The funeral is tomorrow. And we are going on like, oh, you lost your niece. For them, that when it comes to work, I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Yes. For them, when it comes to, that does not come like something, a prayer that they want to start a conversation with you over unless you really push and want to know. So it's good to understand is know your people to lead your people. Know your team to lead your team during this season. Mm-hmm. So that because when you're in the office, you see, Nani came in late, you can see they came in late. And maybe you can go and find out what's going on because you saw they came in late. When you no longer see them come in late, you don't know what they are going through. You don't know what they are dealing with. You know what is going on in their space. And so you need them to go beyond just being able to function like a robot, like a leader, but being specific and finding out what does Angie prefer? How do I build influence over Angie during this season? And then is when you're in a meeting with them, is find out, hey, okay, so what's going on? And so one of the things we have is to know people's tendencies. Help your team know their tendencies. Help them know how they're likely to respond to situations. Because when you know that, then you can speak into that and still be able to build influence with each of them specifically.
Yes.
Now that you're not seeing them every day.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers the question you asked me.
Yes, I think it did. And even actually it asked the third one I had.
Oh, really?
So since we had, because I was, I wanted to know what you would recommend leaders to do as a priority at this time with their teams to put their businesses back on track. I think you have asked them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And basically it's just to be able to go the extra mile and find out how specifically are they responding to different issues that are going on. And that is, and of course, one of the things I tell people, and I got this from, Lencioni, Patrick Lencioni, and he was talking of leaders are CROs.
CROs? Huh?
CROs, Chief Repeat Officers.
Chief Repeat?
Yeah, Chief Repeat Officers.
Okay.
Now, and when I heard that from Patrick, I was like, really, do I have to repeat myself? And you realize during this season, you probably will have to do that a lot. Repeat yourself over and over. And so you need to be patient. You need to be really patient and say, okay, we discussed this yesterday. Does it mean that you are not in the Zoom meeting? Does it mean that your network was not strong enough? Or what was going on? Because we talked about this yesterday.
Yes.
Now we are having to do it again today. What's going on really? And so then that patience of saying, okay, I will not tire from repeating myself because the medium of communication has changed. And it's no longer guaranteed that someone is in front of you, they will listen. Yeah, you don't know what they're dealing with. You don't know where they are. They might be in a hole somewhere. They live in a noisy neighborhood. So you are trying to say something and something happened and distracted them when you're saying it. And since you're the boss and there's everybody in the team, they don't want to look like they didn't get you. So they probably will not ask you. But what you notice is they'll probably do nothing.
Yes.
So then you need them to have that patience to repeat yourself. That's why I like that. And for me, it's become a reminder. Leaders are CROs, Chief Repeat Officers.
That is my takeaway today. You said, who said it? Patrick?
Patrick Lencioni. Lencioni.
Okay.
Yes. So when I heard of it, I was like, oh, okay. But then it made sense. Because even with my kids, I have 9, 6, and a 1-year-old, especially the 9 and 6, I gotta repeat myself. There are things I say and say.
Yeah, I have kids. Okay. Now they are young men. I used to believe that I know you have to repeat as a parent. But now I didn't know you have to do the same with your team.
And you have to be patient to do that because you are trying to win and you're trying to help them win.
Yes.
And you're trying to let them get what they need to win.
Yes.
And some of those is like, okay, saying, okay, so if we've been running at 100 meters per second, I think we'll run at 30 because we got to move with everybody. Yes. And that is not easy for leaders. There are type of leaders, and when you interact with what we do a lot is we then get some kind of people who want to move quick, and you know those people. Yes. They want to hit and move and move and move and be on the move. Yes. And so anything that looks like they have to slow down, they don't like that. It irritates them. I'm currently working with some leader, and she noticed that she's wired differently from all her team. Yes. And most of her team is composed of people who are wired totally opposite of her. Yes. And so she's been able then to share her frustrations, and all her team now are understanding, like, they're even sympathizing with her now. They're like, oh, my God, so this is the headache we cause her. Because it's not that she doesn't care about us. It's not that she's mean or arrogant. Because all along, they were looking at her as this mean person, this arrogant person. But they're realizing she's not bad. Just like she sees things different from us.
Yes.
And if we do not do things the way she's been telling us, we cause her headache.
Yeah.
And this is the headache we cause her. And all of a sudden, they're sympathizing with her because she's reached a point where she's openly described to them. Because of the training I'm taking them through. She's openly gone in front of them and said, guys, so when I say this and it doesn't happen, that is how I see it. That is what it means to me. And that is how I feel disappointed with you guys. And so this guy like, oh my God, that's not our intention always. Is that sometimes we don't understand you. And so all of a sudden there are conversations.
Okay.
And we've given them tools to have those conversations. So they have these tools they're using. And so I have coaching sessions with this team leader and her sub team leaders tomorrow because she has this sub team leaders. So I have coaching sessions with them. And so like when we did the coaching last week, those things were coming up and she's like, I think I'm seeing something different because now I'm realizing we can talk about issues and it is no longer subjective, it's objective. So when I say something, they can appreciate what I'm talking about. And all of a sudden you see there's that element like, okay, yeah, we don't want to disappoint her because she means well. All along they used to think she's just mean and arrogant. But now they're realizing, no, she actually means well. We are not just seeing it the same page. Yeah.
I think they would go on the side and say, Ule mama ni madarau.
That's it. And so all she was now is because what would happen is the gossip now would trickle down.
Okay.
And she starts hearing rumors. And so she's wondering, what's going on? Why can't they come and tell me? But it's because they can't come and tell her because they think she's mean. But now they can talk to her about those things because they are no longer, no, she's not mean. She's just trying to lead this organization the way she believes she should be leading it.
Yeah.
And it's all for good, but probably sometimes she comes out too strong and we can't handle that.
Yes. She's the rabbit who is trying to make tortoises rise at the same place.
And so because now they have a common language, they have all these tools they're using which are objective, everybody can now see, oh, okay. Oh, okay. And then you also can now look at them and realize, okay, I've been too hard on these guys. I think I need to slow down a little bit. I need to run like 30 meters per second. I've been wanting to run 100, but I now want to run 30 meters because, of course, it's a common African saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with the others. So she's now like, okay, I want to go far. So for me to go far, I have to slow down to accelerate. You've had that say of, you have to, of course, when you're driving a manual car, for you to accelerate, to change the gear, you have to step on the brake, you change the gear, and then you engage the gear and you accelerate. You cannot just accelerate without slowing down. You have to slow down to accelerate your speed. Yeah.
I want to ask you, what is not a smaller team more difficult to read than a bigger?
I think I would start by saying it's easy to get a team. It's easier to lead a smaller team that really you can easily get what's going on, and that's easier to lead. Say I have a team of 3. It's probably easy because you can always do your meetings, agree quickly, and all that. Again, if it is a team that really you tend to see things the same way. It's easy to build consensus if you probably have a smaller number of people. But when you have, say, 8 people, when you have 12 people, the dynamics come into play. Because then you realize that in this 12, when you're talking of percentage-wise, of people who are likely to view things different from you you have a team of 20, you're talking of 30% are likely to view things different from you, you're probably talking of 6 people.
Yes.
If you have 3 people, you're probably only, maybe just one person might not see things, and maybe it's easy to say, okay, let's see if I can spend a few more minutes with this one person to get them to see things the way I see them. But if you have 6 people who are not seeing things the way you're seeing them, trying to build that consensus or get their buy-in will call for a lot from you.
Yes.
And that is then where you need to start figuring out the conversation around culture build, because then you realize that you have, and I don't know whether this is always something you do. Remember when Jethro and Moses, I don't know if you're familiar with that in the scriptures. I'm sorry, forgive me if this is not something you do, but Jethro and Moses in the scriptures, where Jethro realized Moses is suffering because there's all this, and everyone has to come to him. Everyone has to come to him for a question. Everyone has to come to him. So then the art of delegation then comes in when you have a bigger team.
Yeah.
So how can you do effective delegation? And in delegation, there are 2 very important things. There is a responsibility and authority. So I can give you responsibility, but if I fail to give you commensurate authority, then I disempower you.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I never thought it like that.
Yeah, because you seem to have so many things to do, but every now and then you have to sort for my opinion on everything.
Okay.
So you're more like a robot. You have to come to me, Gabriel. So I've done what you said. So what next do I do? I've done what you say. So say, for example, I send you to represent me in a meeting, but I've not given you authority on what you need to, things you can make decisions on.
Yes.
So you're in the meeting, but every now and then you're checking, okay, now they're saying this. What do I say to that? Okay, now say this. Okay, good. Okay, now someone has just asked this question. What do I answer? So you look like, so why are you even there in the first place?
Yes.
So how do I give you commensurate authority with the responsibility you're handling? Because again, if I hold so much authority, it speaks to me as a leader. There's some self-preservation going on there.
Yes.
What am I afraid of losing? What am I trying to hide? What am I trying to prove? That I'm holding on the authority. I don't want to, so I just want to tell you, do this, but you don't have the authority to do. But the other side of it is also, I cannot give you a lot of authority without responsibility.
Yeah.
Because you'll abuse the authority. I give you a checkbook and you just have a check, and there's money in the account and you can sign it. So you will sign it because really so can you handle that authority that I've given you?
Yes.
So you then as a delegator is to know your people and know, okay, Gabriel can handle this much authority. So I will give Gabriel this responsibility, and I know Gabriel can handle this much authority. What decisions can Gabriel make, and what decision needs to come to me?
Yes.
So that needs to be clear so that Gabriel knows you can make the following decisions, but on the following, you need to consult me before you make any decision on those things. And it's clear to Gabriel.
Yes.
So then when you're leading a bigger team, then delegation then becomes your friend. The people who struggle with delegation, the people who can handle delegation, the people who give. I was talking to someone yesterday, I was coaching. I said, like, Gabriel, my problem is I give too much authority. So I was like, okay, so tell me more. So because I want to do one, I want to feel like I'm empowering someone and all that. So I give them too much leeway. But I'm like, so how has that worked for you? He's like, yeah, I've seen sometimes some people do things that I am like, what? How did you do that? Why did you do that? But they had the authority to do it. And so, but again, that confuses some people because they're like, so I have so much authority. What do I do with it? Yes. So then they start wielding their power all over everyone. And you're wondering, who told them to say that? By what authority are they saying that? You gave them permission to say it. Yes. And so is the balance. So that Angela, has this responsibility. Out of those responsibilities I've given them, this is the much authority I want to give them because I want to empower them. But this is where I need them to come consult me.
Yes.
Because the stakes are higher on this one. And I need to take responsibility at the end of the day. So when you're leading a bigger team, delegation then becomes your friend. And identifying those culture champions, identifying those culture builders and culture killers, and figuring out how do you then address those issues. And that then becomes how you then look at it. So then you don't have all the 20 people coming to you every day for something, because you will not move. You will be firefighting every day.
Yes.
Because leadership of a team, as I finish, is about performing and leading other performers. Because you as a leader, you also need to perform. There are things you need to do.
Yes.
So your work is not just firefighting and solving people's problems. You also need to be able to do some things to make you be able to make progress and perform in your leadership. And so then you need then to be able to be sure that you have the delegation as your friend. Then you can be able to do what you need to do when you need to do it, and be able to address the issues that are coming to your table when you need to address them. I don't know whether that answers your question.
It does. It does. And I'm really looking forward to your masterclass. I think I've learned quite a few things here just in this as we are in this introduction. So I'm looking forward to what you have in store for us.
I hope it will meet your expectation.
I hope so. I'm sure you will. Don't you like Gabriel's energy and enthusiasm? His masterclass is just the same. Join Topachiwa's network so that you can watch it. And here on this video, download the free tool, apply it to your business, and come back and share your experience with us. Is your challenge in a different area? Select from our previous videos the one that meets your needs. Otherwise, tell us what you need in the comments and we'll do everything in our powers to find a solution for you. Join Top Achievers community. The link again is here in the description. Interact daily with fellow entrepreneurs and even with all the coaches and mentors who are featured here. I'm looking forward to meeting you within the community.